Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
T.A. We are live. Zach, we're here in the Tigers Avenue. We are doing a Saturday show, pregame show here. We're going to have a collab show today. I can hear JP right now.
You're good on our end. I don't hear him on our end, so you're good.
Well, he's talking, and I can't, like, in the middle of me talking. So I don't know how to switch that.
You'll need to change the audio on his StreamYard. Change the audio. When you're in his StreamYard, you got to go to settings, audio, and then change the audio to something other than the speakers of your laptop. Sorry, y'all. We are trying to get things figured out. We're doing things a little unorthodox today. We have kind of two streams going today because JP's show is actually kind of a small branch off of our show. And so we all share the same streaming account and stuff like that. But he's going to be joining us here in just about 3 minutes. And then we will bring him in and start to discuss LSU, Mississippi State. Obviously, the game will be kicking off here in right around an hour. Reagan, I got to say, I'm a little nervous.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a really close game, and here's why I think it's going to be a close game. Number one, it's 11 a.m. kick. It's in Starkville. They're going to have to deal with the cowbells. And I feel like those 11 a.m. kicks, when you're away, are a lot harder on the team to get ready, get going, get emotionally right for the game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it's like the emotions are hard to get moving. And I think it's hard to get started. And so I think we come out kind of flat, honestly. And that's what makes me nervous. That's what makes me worried the most about this game is if we come out starting slow and they have all the momentum, are we going to be able to respond and stay on top of things and not let the game get out of hand? So those are my immediate concerns. But, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe they come out on fire. I would love that. Maybe BK's got them ready and has – adjusted them to this 11 a.m. kick. But I'd be really concerned about how we start this game.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll have to find out, if they're ready to play. I got my TA bucket hat going on because, the sun's going to be out. You don't want to get sunburned at the stadium. I'm not going. We're not going to be there, but I'm getting in the mood. I'm getting in the mood for this 11 a.m. kickoff. So, Reagan, are you ready to bring in Mr. JP?
Let's bring Fears in.
Let's bring Mr. Fears in.
Boys in. What's going on, guys?
What's up, JP?
How y'all doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
Oh, man, doing great. Doing great.
It's another Saturday.
I gotta ask.
The Dion. Oh, the Dion.
The Dion look going.
Sir. Gotta have the glasses on for this, boys.
Hey, take your hat off and your sunglasses off when you're talking to me, Swore.
No, sir. No, sir.
You better take them sunglasses off. Man,
I gotta ask, what do y'all think about Colorado State being game day?
Where else would they go?
I'm all for it.
Oh, Reagan's for it. Okay, wow.
I am all for it, especially with what has unfolded this week between the Colorado State coach and the Buffaloes being offended by what he said. I don't know what kind of idiotic brain this guy is carrying around between his ears to make a statement like, I take my hat off and my glasses off when I talk to someone. That's what my mama taught me. Like, how dumb do you have to be to just add fuel to the fire?
That's right.
For Deion's
No, you know they're about to run it up on them, and it's going to be like no mercy.
Run it all over them. I mean, Shador, Weaver, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, Dylan Edwards. It's going to be an absolute massacre, and it's at Boulder. It's in Boulder. It's going to be
bad. JP, thanks for joining the podcast, bro. I got to ask.
Thanks for joining mine.
Yeah, we're joining each other's. It's a little weird. So I've got to ask JP. I got to ask first off. Obviously, we're going to preview this matchup, LSU versus State. Yeah. Now, look, you're an Ole Miss fan, but your brother is a big State fan. That's why I wanted to bring y'all on. He was unable to join us this morning, so you got to, I guess, kind of preview this a little bit out of your, brother's lenses as a State fan for us.
Yeah.
So, why don't you give us a first take on this LSU State game?
Well, LSU started off a little rocky this year, as we both know. Finally joined that win column last week.
For sure.
State's only beat LSU in Starkville once in this century. LSU is a 9-point favorite. So I'm going to do the justice, and I might make some people upset, and that's fine. And that's fine, right? But Hail State on this game day today.
Whoa!
The Bulldogs are going to upset the LSU Tigers in Starkville today.
I will say this. The 9-point spread is a surprise to me. I would bet the Bulldogs to cover, but I will not take the Bulldogs outright. I think these 11 a.m. kicks in Starkville have always been close games. The last time we played in Starkville 2 years ago, it was an 11 a.m. kick, and it was a 3-point ball game. The interesting thing in this game, here's like the storyline of this game to me, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong or what you think the storyline is. But Mike Leach passes away. Obviously, Mike Leach is the author of the air raid offense. Now Zach Arnett is their head coach, and the air raid offense has left Mississippi State in Mike Leach's passing. And now Zach Arnett seems to be a very run-heavy offense so far. Against Arizona last week, Will Rogers only threw the ball 17 times. He was 13 for 17 last week. And I know they ran the ball a lot against Southeastern Louisiana. I don't know off the top of my head how many times he threw it against Southeastern Louisiana. But I know for a fact that Will Rogers has not passed 40 attempts this year in the passing game in 2 games. Whereas under Mike Leach, he would have thrown the ball 40 times in 1 game. And it seems to be a very run-heavy offense, but LSU is absolutely its weakest in the secondary.
Yep.
Our secondary is our Achilles heel right now. It is the clear issue and problem of this team. So I am curious to see, will Zach Arnett and the Mississippi State Bulldogs stick with their heavy run game, or have they watched the film? Will they make adjustments, and will they throw the ball a lot more, considering how poor LSU's secondary has been playing? And I want to get both your thoughts on this. Zach, give me your thoughts first, and then JP, if you'll follow up on that. What are your thoughts on today's offensive game plan for State? Do they stick with what they've been doing, or do you think we see something different?
I honestly think we see something different. Obviously, week one, not a big matchup. They had kind of a tough matchup last week, having to go against Arizona, go into overtime. I still think there was some stuff being held back from this offense that they're going to show today. We know that Will Rogers is fully capable of being able to throw the ball. We watched him last year. He's phenomenal at knowing when to throw the football. Like timing, he's really good at his timing on throwing the football. And, against a secondary that has mightily struggled this year so far for LSU, it definitely worries me. And I think, obviously, if you're a smart coach, you understand that LSU's weakness is the secondary, so you attack that weakness, right? So I fully expect we're going to see a lot more pass attempts. I think you will see the most pass attempts for Will Rogers than in one single game than you have in the last two. In this game than you have in the last two. So I fully expect Mississippi State to try and exploit LSU's weakness. But the biggest thing for me, for LSU to counter that is, and I said it previewing Florida State, I said it even before Grambling, LSU has got to get home on the pass rush. They have to. They have to get pressure. They have to get Will Rogers down, take him down, in order to help this secondary out. They didn't do it against Florida State. They started off looking horrible against Grambling.
They didn't really get much pass rush against Grambling either. They had one sack, and I think it was in the fourth quarter.
Sack.
That's horrible.
They had one sack, and that was Jordan Jefferson. It wasn't even one of your starting guys. So, you have to be able to get a pass rush in the SEC. And so to counter that, it's going to be a big task for Mississippi State to be able to hold up against LSU's defensive line. But LSU, so far, they haven't proven yet that they can get home.
Yeah.
JP, what do you think?
I don't think they shy away of what they've been doing. I think they're still going to run the ball, but don't be shocked if they start testing the waters a little bit. I say they start off what they do. They're going to run, say they get second and one. I'm going to try to test the waters on their DBs and see what happens. But I think they're still going to stick true to who they are this season. I believe they're still a defensive mindset like they've always been, especially under their new head coach. But I think they're going to still do their thing. But if they test the waters for sure, and it gets to a point where y'all's DBs can't handle it, then we're going to get into let's just keep the ball in Will's hands and let's keep throwing that thing. So,
and you know what? I'll be honest, JP. I am right there with you. I think it will. We will see the offense of Mississippi State adjust based on what happens early. You're going to try and establish your run game. Yep. And once Mississippi State does that, if they have success in the run game, I think you're spot on there. I think they'll test it and push the ball because as soon as you establish a run game and your linebackers and are anticipating run, your coverage is anticipating run, they're already peeking in the backfield. That's when you run a play action and you burn them, which can definitely happen. So I'm right there with you. I think they still stick with the run game pretty heavily, but if they have success early with the run game, I think they're going to go to the pass game pretty quickly and try to use all thirds of the field to exploit LSU's weakness. But all right, JP, what you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to hit up on, like we always do. I don't know if you guys check us out every week. Hopefully you guys do. But we just run through the top 25 games of the week, of the weekend and stuff like that. Give each prediction, and then we'll hit up on the game day, which is in Boulder, Colorado. Deion Sanders.
Absolutely.
We'll hit up that at the very end. So first game is first, and we're going to hit up on number 3 Florida State playing Boston College. Y'all have seen a lot of Florida State first week.
Just a little bit.
They got a 24.5 point spread on them. You think they're going to, of course, win this game? What y'all thinking on this?
They're going to win and cover.
Yeah. Win and cover. Florida State
I heard an echo there for a second, but
Florida State is a legitimate national championship contending team. and there's no question of that. I think they win the ACC outright. I think the only competition they have in the ACC is North Carolina. I don't think Clemson's that much of a threat. I think they're going to run through the ACC and be in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Next one, these are all of our 11 o'clock games I'm hitting up first. Next one we have is number 7 Penn State facing Illinois. Penn State's got a 14-point spread on it. Penn State looks good in my opinion. I know they haven't faced a lot of people right there, but they look very, very good this season so far.
This one's at Illinois, so I think it'll be a little bit interesting. I know Illinois, not a strong team, but Penn State having to go on the road, this I think will be their toughest test of the season so far because I don't think they've played anybody in the first 2 games. I'm trying to look it up now. I'm pretty sure they've played pretty much just 2 cupcakes before this Illinois game. So this will be probably the biggest test for them this season, having to go on the road. I think that's probably why you see a little bit closer spread. You're like close spread. I mean, it's 14 points, but if this is at Penn State, expect a much bigger spread. But I fully expect Penn State maybe to struggle a little bit early and then pull away.
Give me Penn State in this, and I'll even say they cover. I think Penn State is the biggest threat to Michigan this year in the Big Ten. I think Ohio State's sitting in 3rd place this year by the end of the year in the Big Ten. So I'll take Penn State over Illinois, and I think they cover.
Yep. Next, we got number 15 Kansas State on the road facing Missouri. It's only a field goal, looks like, so far.
Wow.
Missouri's last top 15 win at home was in 2010 against Oklahoma. Wow. Do you think they're going to do it again? Do you think we have an upset today in Missouri?
I think it might be close, but I will be interested to see how they play Kansas State, because obviously LSU is going to see Missouri later on this year. We have to go to Missouri. This game is also at Missouri. So it'll be interesting to see how they play against, their best competition that they've seen so far. They've struggled a little bit with these cupcakes. So how do they do against the number 15 team in the country will be interesting. I do believe they lose, and I would say that Kansas State covers.
I'll take Kansas State. Kansas State in the last 2-3 years has really made some noise in the Big 12, and I've really liked what they've been doing lately. I'll take Kansas State over Mizzou.
Nice. Next we have, and I'm just going to skip some games until we just get some highlights because I know you guys got to get back to y'all's podcast and stuff. We got South Carolina on the road facing number 1 Georgia.
I think this is going to be closer than the 27 point.
Absolutely.
South Carolina, I mean, it almost feels like, they're 1-1 obviously on the season. They didn't play a great game against North Carolina game 1, but I still feel like this team is dangerous. Like, I still feel like they have the ability to pop off against somebody. Is it this week against Georgia on the road? Probably not. But I definitely think South Carolina covers the spread. I think this is closer than Georgia is happy with because they're still in that phase of trying to figure, Carson Beck's still trying to figure things out. I mean, I fully believe he's a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but, Georgia's still in kind of that figuring out phase. After having to losing everybody from last year that won the national championship. So, and South Carolina, they're more established with who they have, the guys that came back. So you're going to have a little bit more chemistry leaning on South Carolina's side, I think. But I ultimately believe Georgia wins this game.
Yeah.
I'll kind of echo the same thing. I think Georgia wins, but I think it's a much closer game than the spread is showing. I don't think Georgia is what they've been. I do not think Georgia wins the national championship again this year. They just don't look the same without Stetson Bennett, which is something you would expect. I mean, you lose a quarterback like Stetson Bennett, it's going to look different. I think Carson Beck is a little inexperienced, and the defense isn't exactly the same. The defense is really good, don't get me wrong, but it's not, just dominant like it has been. And the offense, like, the thing you can rely on the most with Georgia is giving the ball to Brock Bowers. And that's about the only thing that's been really consistent for Georgia. But I think this is a close game. I think Georgia wins, but I don't think Georgia even wins the East this year.
No. Yeah, I agree for sure. I mean, South Carolina has only won one game against Georgia since Speary retired. That was in 2019. So, yeah, I think Georgia will pull it out. But like you said, I don't think they're not the Georgia team we've been seeing over the past couple of years. So I don't think that I don't think it's going to be even a matchup for sure. Next, we got Alabama on the road against South Florida. Alabama got upset by Texas last week. How do they come back? This is their first game against a non-Power 5 team, and I don't know how long, I feel like. So, obviously, they're probably going to win because they're Alabama and they're facing a terrible team. But how do they bounce back? They got a new quarterback today. So, they have their backup starting.
Tyler Buckner, yeah.
Yeah. What y'all thinking? Roll Tide.
I know what I think.
I think Alabama. I mean, it's a 34-point spread. That's a really big spread. I mean, I understand South Florida's like not good. Like, I understand that, but 34 points and they're on the road in South Florida. I think Alabama beats them pretty handily, but I think it's more like a 28-point spread.
Okay. Yeah. I love this. Is so much fun for me. I don't know for y'all. Hopefully y'all feel the same way. But it is so wonderful to watch Alabama, number one, lose at home in Tuscaloosa, Texas. Although I hate Texas. If they both could have lost, I'd have been happy. Yeah. But to watch Bama lose at home, and number two, they have quarterback problems. They can't figure out who their quarterback is. It's a lot of fun to watch this from an Alabama team. And you're telling me that the same offensive coordinator from Notre Dame and the same quarterback from Notre Dame last year at Notre Dame that lost to Marshall is going to come to Alabama and be any better than Jalen Milroe last week? Please. It's going to be the same type stuff. It's going to be the same stuff. It's going to look not top tier. It's not going to look what you're used to with Alabama, and it's going to be like that all year long. I told Zach and Dad before the season, they don't have a quarterback like they're used to. They don't have the weapons on the outside like they're used to. They don't have a running back like they're used to. Yeah. And their defense isn't as good as they're used to. This is not the dominant Alabama team that we are used to seeing in the Saban era. They're lacking weapons, and they're lacking dominance on the defensive side, and I freaking love it. So,
is this the new Alabama that we have to get used to?
I wouldn't say it's
because everybody's either transferring or they're not going to Bama. People are coming to LSU or Ole Miss. Yeah. They're going to Texas,
Colorado.
I would
it's not about who you play or where you play. It's about who you play for.
I would say that after this year, the two quarterbacks, Milroe and Buckner, I don't think either of them remain in Alabama.
No.
I don't think either of them remain in
Alabama.
If
Milroe does, he'll be a running back.
I think they get like a veteran quarterback that's really good out of the portal, and he plays 1 year for them next year, and then they bring along Ty Simpson or Eli Holstein. They're young guys because Eli Holstein and Ty Simpson, I think, have some serious talent and can be really good for Alabama, but they're not. I don't think they're there yet.
Not ready yet.
Yeah. All right, let me get three more out of you guys, and I'm going to let you guys go.
Yeah, sure.
Number 11, Tennessee, on the road against Florida. Tennessee has not won in the swamp in 20 years.
Tennessee they're winning today in the swamp.
Tennessee by 20.
What is 5.5?
I don't know about 20. I don't know about 20 because I was not impressed with Tennessee last week, and I haven't been impressed with Florida at all this season.
Oh, no.
I do think Tennessee wins here in the swamp. But I think it's gonna be close because I'm not. I think they're both. I think Tennessee's a little bit above like subpar. They might eventually come along. Like Tennessee may eventually come along and be a lot better team. I think they have that ability. I am not impressed with Florida, and I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of improvement. I mean, you'll see some, obviously. That's what happens with every college football team as the year progresses. But I think Florida's going to be, probably an 8-4 or worse team. And I think this is one of those losses to Tennessee.
Yeah, I definitely think Tennessee's winning this game. Let me look at something real quick before I make this statement. Tennessee hasn't really played much competition yet, obviously. And last week, look, Austin Peay is a good team. Austin Peay is a solid team. So I don't think they're a better team than Virginia is, in my opinion. And that's the other team Tennessee has played. Okay, so Tennessee has to play Georgia, or Georgia has to play Tennessee in Knoxville this year.
Yep.
And that, to me, is huge for them. And I think they win the SEC East because of that, for that sole reason.
Yeah.
I think the only competition for the SEC East is between Tennessee and Georgia. And if it was in Sanford, I would say Georgia's your SEC East champion. But it's in Knoxville. So give me the Vols to win the SEC East this year. And I think they beat Florida today by at least 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Next one, we got Georgia Tech on the road versus number 17 Ole Miss. I will be at that game tonight. Trey Harris is out, and Judkins is questionable.
Wow.
Ooh.
Game time.
Maybe that's why it's a 16-point spread.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is the first time that we've played Georgia Tech in Mississippi. We've played them. So I think we pull it out. I think we're still struggling on the run game.
That has been very surprising to me.
Very surprising. Everybody's got our number this year. So what y'all thinking on that?
I think Ole Miss ultimately wins this game. They may end up still covering the spread, even if Harris and Judkins aren't playing. I still think they have that ability to beat. Georgia Tech's not good. They're just not a good team. I mean, are they a Power 5 team? Yes, but they're not a good team. I think Ole Miss should be able to win this one pretty handily. They might be even to cover the spread. I would assume that Ole Miss wins this by 3 touchdowns or more.
I'm with Zach on this. The only thing I will say for Ole Miss fans, I will say this: they are better than they were last year.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech is better than they were last year. Georgia Tech last year was just horrible. I mean, just horrible. They fired that coach. They hired, their offensive coordinator. They promoted him to head coach. And the way he finished the season last year, they were really impressed with him. So ultimately decided to hire him. I watched the Georgia Tech game against Louisville, and they ended up losing the game to Louisville. But early on in that game, they showed some major flashes in their offense. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Haynes King transferred from A&M to Georgia Tech. So it is a better team than it was last year, and it's significantly better at the quarterback position than last year. But it's in Oxford. So give me Ole Miss to cover the spread and win this game. But I would not be surprised if they made it close. Yeah. But ultimately, I think Ole Miss is the better team and wins.
Yeah. I feel like we play them close every single year and always find a way to pull it away. So hopefully 6:30 tonight, we're pulling away with that victory. But last one I want to reach at, talk about is game day today. We got Colorado State on the road, not far, going to Boulder, facing Colorado.
Colorado by 50.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Colorado by 50.
Yeah, I think Dion, fellas, if you will echo me, it has become what?
Personal.
It's become personal.
Personal.
They messed around and made it
personal.
Yeah, I love that. I love that from Dion. He did that last week with Nebraska. I really don't know what happened with the whole Nebraska thing. Something about pregame, midfield, something happened, and go ahead.
Prom has that instinct in him like Michael Jordan did. Like, even if there's nothing there, he's going to create something so that there is a competitive drive in him to demolish his opponent.
It fires me up.
Dude,
it fires me up.
It makes me want to put a Colorado Buffs hat on, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I got that far.
Deion Sanders, so they asked him on game day if his ultimate goal was to be in the NFL. Deion Sanders would not be successful in the NFL.
No.
Deion Sanders can be absolutely elite in the college level. Here's why. He is polarizing to high school recruits and college men, like college-age boys. Like the way he talks, the way he carries himself, it is what I think attracts all of these recruits to him.
Yep.
He is a polarizing, and of course, he's Deion Sanders.
Right.
So let's not forget about that. But his personality and his charisma, he is going to out-recruit a lot of teams. Colorado is going to recruit really stinking well, and Deion Sanders is going to have Colorado playing really stinking good for several years to come.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his ability to recruit and because of how polarizing he is. But Colorado State's coach, for whatever reason, decided to take a jab at Deion Sanders and just make matters worse. It could have been like a solid in-state rivalry, Colorado State versus Colorado, but they done messed it around, in the words of Prime, and made it personal. And like Zach said, they're probably going to drop 50 on these folks.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a problem. Now, I will say this. At times, their defense is a little shaky, but their offense makes up for where their defense lacked because they just keep scoring. They just keep scoring. It's also in Boulder, so it's going to be an annihilation. And
it's going to be absolutely insane.
Kept his mouth shut. He should have kept his mouth shut.
Oh, yeah. By far. Yeah, Boulder, beautiful place. I've been there multiple times. And really? It's like 9 o'clock. It's late game. So it's going to be, I think, what is it? Where's the time at it? Yes, 9 p.m. It is a late game for us. So it's going to be wolves howling in the background. And like you said, Deion, for me, if I was a college person, like, heck yeah, I want to go play for Deion, right? Like, it's Deion Sanders. He recruited the number 1 defensive back in the country to Jackson State.
Yeah. Number 1 player, period.
Yes.
Period.
Both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And he is phenomenal. And he goes to Jackson State to play with Deion. Yeah. What else can this guy recruit?
Well, he already landed in the next class, the other number 1 DB in the class, in Kamorian McLean. Now, McLean has been hurt this season and hasn't got to play, but there's another elite DB on that team. And when he's healthy, he's going to be playing. Yes. So, and of course, he went and got that kid out of Kansas, Dylan Edwards, who was like the number 1 running back in the state, or the number 1 player in the state of Kansas. And now he's one of the key players on their entire offense in number 3, Dylan Edwards. And Travis Hunter is a freak. So 2019 LSU, if you're a college football fan, like, it was must-watch TV, what LSU's offense was doing. You just had to watch it because it was so awesome. Colorado is that same way for me this year.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a college football fan, you're watching that. It's must-watch TV.
Yeah.
So they're going to be exciting to watch all year long. I can't wait for them to get deep into conference play.
And they're Oregon next week.
USC and UCLA. And, I'm pumped for that.
Yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing about it is last year they could barely even sell tickets to a game. This year, I looked it up. This year, the cheapest ticket for today's game is $200.
Oh, my.
The most expensive one is over $700, and they are almost sold out.
Yeah.
Wow. What is this man doing? And
He's him. He's just being him.
That's it.
He's just being himself.
I love his antics, man. Like, you've been hearing him say bull jump. That is so funny to me. They've been talking that bull jump.
Yep.
They've been talking that bull jump.
And my thing is with his son at quarterback, we've been through 2 games, and he is 97 yards away for 1,000 yards passing.
Oh my god!
Shedeur is a legitimate Heisman contender.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Legitimate.
He's probably number 1 over Caleb Williams for sure. Give me
Colorado winning the Natty this year.
Oh my! Whoa!
Boulder bringing the chip.
Whoa! We're bringing the chip to Boulder.
All right,
Listen,
guys. JB,
how about that?
I appreciate you guys jumping on with us this morning. Saturday with the boys. I'm without my brother, but I got my 2 other brothers with me.
Absolutely.
Over at Tigers Avenue. Make sure you jump off here. Go check those guys out. Love what you guys do. LSU fans love you guys as well. We'll see you guys later.
Well,
Appreciate
hey,
you,
for our viewers that want to listen to the I was about to say the JP podcast, the Fears Boyz podcast.
That's right.
Fears Boyz.
It used to be the JP podcast or whatever
That's
you
right.
call it, but now it's the Fears Boyz podcast. Y'all go follow them. They're 2 brothers just like us, just talking sports.
That's right.
Good
All right,
stuff.
guys. We'll check out you guys later. See you.
See you, JP.
All right, see you, man.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Whew. All right, Reagan. That was fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great. That was great. I love talking college football, and that was a really good segment there. So,
All right,
Zach,
Reagan, we need to get back into LSU State, huh?
yeah, absolutely. I think we need to hit a quick break. We'll come back, hit some comments, and then we'll get back on our tools for success here, or TA tools for triumph, and we'll talk what LSU needs to do to win this game right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, we're back, and let's get to some of these comments. Tyler Townsend, morning, guys. We're about 20 minutes away from kickoff. I'm excited. Miss Peggy's in here. She said the LSU offense needs to have a big day.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
I know it sounds like every time I say this, I'm always thinking like, well, duh, but it's true. Like LSU's offense, they're going to have to outscore their opponent, right? Obviously, you have to outscore your opponent to win a football game, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna have to be LSU's offense stepping up and helping, kind of make up for what the secondary is going to allow. So we'll see. Dad's in here today. He says, after thought and watching stuff today, LSU 34, MSU 31. He also said USC and Oregon will be losses for Colorado, but they should be 7-5 or so. I think they're better than 7-5.
I'll say 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah, I think they're 8-4, 9-3. I agree. Miss Leslie Dupree,
I would have said 7-5.
Go Tigers. What'd you say?
I said at the beginning of the season, I would have said 7-5 or worse. But
Yeah.
Be honest.
Now I'm saying 8-4 or better. We'll find out.
Leslie, go Tigers. Absolutely.
Dad also said major key to the game is O-line for sure. And that really leads us into our next segment, Reagan, the TA tools for triumph. I have to say, Reagan, obviously we knew the secondary was going to be an issue. I think what Dad just mentioned was kind of a surprise for us to see the offensive line struggle a little bit, obviously in the first game. We'll see what they do offensively and what 5 guys they roll out there today as the starting 5. I'll be interested to see the first 5 guys that take the field. So anyways, but I think the offensive line has to have a good day. LSU needs to be able to establish the run. Because, I mean, once you get into the thick of this schedule in the SEC, you cannot be one-dimensional. You cannot be one-dimensional. You got to be able to keep teams honest. You got to be able to at least run the ball, at least keep them honest. So I think that'd be a really big step up for the offensive line today to get some push to be able to open up some lanes for these running backs. Let me see Logan Diggs. I want to see Logan Diggs versus this state team. I mean, I understand it was Grambling. I understand, like, you know, he did what he's supposed to do to a point like that, but he played with some energy. He played with
different.
a burst.
There was something different. Yeah. There was definitely something a little different when he was running.
Exactly. So, I mean, shoot, Caleb Jackson too. Both those guys, when they got the football, they ran with purpose. They ran with power, and they ran with energy. So I want to see some more of that today from these running backs, even if it's not those two guys. Let's see some. I mean, I fully believe Josh Williams gives his 100% effort, and you know, I mean, he's a leader on this team. So I want to see the running backs be able to have a good game. I also want to see, you know, the secondary take a step, you know, forward. I'm not saying it'd be perfect because we know that they're not, and we know that they are the greatest weakness on this team. Just take a step up. Just take a step forward. You know, as the season progresses, you're going to get better. So do that today. Take a step forward. Maybe we see, you know, maybe a turnover or a key play by one of these corners today. I would love to see that.
Zach, just some things to mention that will be important to this game. Number one, Omar Spates is probably not going to play today. He was doubtful, along with Mason Taylor. I think is going to be like a game time decision. Correct. Or something like that with the sprained ankle last week. So those will be some things to look out for. I think that kind of excites me because that means Greg Penn and the West boys are going to be or the Weeks boys will be in the middle, and that means and Brian Kelly made it clear that Harold Perkins was going to be on the outside. I think Harold Perkins needs to break out this game. It's been, you know, we saw a flash of it last week. He's playing on the outside, playing on the perimeter. You know, saw the screen coming from the quarterback, read the screen last week, met the guy behind the scrimmage line, and absolutely rocked him. We need to see more of that. We need to see Harold Perkins getting home, causing problems, and intimidating this Mississippi State offense and keeping them one-dimensional in the run game. Because if we keep them to the run game, I think LSU is going to win this game by like 10 points if they're not challenging our secondary.
Yeah,
that's one thing. Like we've discussed, and I'm going to continue to harp on and echo you, Zach. We've got to get a pass rush, and Harold Perkins needs to be involved in that. He is the heartbeat and life of this defense.
Of the pass rush.
He single-handedly would bring this defense alive. And when a player plays like that and brings energy, everybody else around him elevates their game. I'm also really excited to see Mason Smith. I think Mason Smith in his first game last week played a little reserved, and I think that was on purpose, and that's okay because he's working back from injury. It was his first game back. It was Grambling. I want to see that dog today. I want to see him wreaking havoc, smothering the run game, getting pressure up the middle, because we need a pass rush, no doubt, but we also need a pass rush up the middle, and that has been lacking severely the last 2 years. The other key to the tools for triumph for me is Logan Diggs. You mentioned him already, and Logan Diggs last week when he ran, it was different, man. He ran with energy and passion, purpose. He ran low and centered. He was balanced, and when he was met with contact, he was able to fight through it and get more yards. Whereas in the first week against Florida State, we didn't see much of that. It was like first contact, you were kind of going down. Logan Diggs was different, man. I don't care who the opponent was. That was some awesome running. And Caleb Jackson as well.
Yeah.
To me, I want to see Logan Diggs have another game like that. And if Logan Diggs can have another game like that, it is going to make Mississippi State's offense respect our running game. Yep. Therefore, you can open up the offense in the passing game even more. So Logan Diggs, I know we don't typically do players, Zach, but Logan Diggs to me is a key to today's game, and whoever else is running the ball. But to me right now, I think Logan Diggs needs to be your running back one. I think he earned that and proved that last week. And if he continues that success, I don't see why we don't keep giving him the ball. Because if you're running like that, like he did last week, you're going to open up this offense because they're going to have to respect it and
So
give you the availability to do more.
we need to give some big news. 24 minutes ago, Wilson Alexander, Greg Brooks will be out today for an undisclosed reason.
Man,
Yeah.
that's tough. Secondary gets even weak.
Yeah.
It gets even weaker.
Omar
That's
Spates
rough.
is officially out as well.
Man.
LSU's defense is going to have a massive task ahead of them.
Yeah, you may see some shuffling, Zach, today. You know, with Greg Brooks being out, you're probably going to see
Ryan.
Yeah, I was about to say you're going to see Andre Sam go back to that, and Sage Ryan probably take the nickel, and so that's not terrible. That's not terrible, but you definitely would like to have.
Oh yeah, you want to have
Greg Brooks on the field. That's a big loss. I didn't know that. That's. I mean, this is the first time hearing of it. I didn't know he was having any issues or.
And as of 6 minutes ago, Lance Hurd is currently taking first team reps.
That doesn't surprise me. Surprise me. I think I love Miles Frazier, and I think he's a solid O-lineman, but I think ultimately the O-line is going to have Will Campbell, Dellinger, Charles Turner, Emory Jones at the guard, and Lance Hurd at the tackle on the right side. I think that's the way it's trending.
Yeah, and I to be honest with you, I'm okay with that. I really and if I don't know if you heard Emory Jones talk this week, he said that he likes playing inside. He enjoys it.
He's a little bit more fit for it too. And Lance Hurd is definitely a tackle.
Lance Hurd. So I saw a side by side, and this is no knock on Emory Jones by any means, but I saw a side by side. I think against Grambling, they showed a clip or a shot of Emory Jones and Lance Hurd side by side. Dude, Lance is huge. Lance is huge. He's bigger than Emory Jones. Like, like I was like, holy cow! Like he like makes Emory Jones look tiny.
The length of his arms is the reason he's definitely a tackle. His length and size is why he's better on the outside, and he should be on the outside. Lance Hurd will never play a guard. He will always be a tackle. He's built for it.
Well, for me, Reagan, we've discussed a lot, but for me, to narrow down and just say specifically what my TA tools for triumph is, for me, it's kind of the same as we've been mentioning. Keep them honest in the run game and get a pass rush. I'm not going to put a lot of expectations right now on the secondary because I don't think we can right now. I would love to see Sage Ryan have a big game. I think this is a big opportunity for Sage Ryan.
Absolutely.
And in the spot that he's in, I would love to see him play a massive role in this game because I think he has the capability. I just think he's been a little bit behind the 8 ball in his time at LSU, but I still think he is a phenomenally talented defensive back, and I want to see him explode today and have a great game. Maybe, I mentioned I would love to see a defensive player, a secondary player, make a big play in this game. Maybe that's Sage Ryan today and the opportunity that he gets. We're going to find out. And maybe I'm going back. I get to tweet that out later on and get to go back to this conversation that me and you had. I don't know. We're going to find that out.
Zach, I think Whit Weeks, the freshman, is going to have a good game. They like Whit Weeks a lot. I mean, this is no knock on his older brother, but Whit is going to be better than West. He's bigger in size already. He's already bigger than West. And just his ability, I think his vision on the field is better. I think he actually gets the start over West today. I wouldn't be surprised if West gets the start just because experience sake, but I think Witt is going to play a lot today, and I think we will like what we see out of Witt Weeks. And I think Witt Weeks today will earn more playing time alongside Omar when he gets back healthy. Because I think he's going to be a solid linebacker for the years to come, the next few years. And even maybe he has a big impact this year. But I'm excited to see what he does with his opportunity. You know, we got guys out today, but that just means there's an opportunity for a guy to make himself known, to make a name for himself. Look, Denver Harris, everybody was upset last week. You know, they've been wanting to see Denver Harris. Okay, we got Denver Harris, and then he got a touchdown scored on him. Look, you're playing the DB position. That's going to happen. I understand it was against Grambling, and it was unacceptable. And, you know, there were some things that were happening that we did not like against Grambling in the passing game. I think we just have to accept our defensive back room isn't as good. But I think we got to keep playing Denver Harris because I think the more experience and the more he plays, the better he's going to get. He needs to be in the game because of his talent level. And I think he needs to be in the game to begin to understand the game better. He is used to being just the best guy on the field, period, in high school. He was the number one DB in the country, and he was used to just being better and being able to out-athlete everybody. That's not true in college football, in Division I SEC play. You're not going to just out-athlete everybody. He is a talented athlete. If you allow him to work on his game and understand the game better and pair that with his talent, Denver Harris can be really, really good. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do over the next few weeks. I really want to see him grow. Brian Kelly has said that early on, he was really not doing the things he needed to do, accepting our process, embodying our process, and he didn't like the result of what not doing the process was bringing upon him. You know, he's playing third string. He was, you know, sitting out. And so he said that it seems like Denver Harris is now bought in, and he's in on the process, and he's willing to do the things necessary. I think Denver Harris can improve over the season and maybe make our secondary better than what it has been, which is really, really exciting. For me, you know you're going to be weak on defense today, so the offense, I think, has to compensate for it. If you can go out and score on 6 possessions, let's say you get 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals, you score on 6 possessions, LSU's winning this game. You got to execute like you did last week. It's going to be tougher. You're playing a much better opponent. But if the offense can execute like they did last week, I don't think you're going to have to worry too much about the defensive side because Mississippi State is going to be playing catch up with your offense. So I want to see the offense explode today and have a breakout game. I want to see Brian Thomas continuing to do what he did.
Yeah,
I want to see more of Chris Hilton. What'd you say?
He's had a good 2 games. You know, early on we mentioned how he could be hovering around 400 yards. He looked like he's going to pass that up easily. Yeah,
pretty easily. He had over 100 yards last week. So he's been kind of the guy right now for whatever. Yeah. For whatever reason, it seems like Jaden and Malik have been a little bit off, but I think he and Brian have been really on. I really like what I saw to Chris Hilton last week. I want to see more of that. And we've got to get Aaron Anderson involved more. Yeah. Like, it doesn't just need to be a jet sweep. It doesn't just need to be a jet sweep. Let's mix it up a little bit with Aaron Anderson some more. And I think LSU wins today, Zach. I think we can give our final score predictions after our last break before we wrap it up. But those are my TA tools for success. Score a lot of points on offense, and you won't have to worry so much about the defense. But Logan Diggs, for me, more than anything, really can open this offense up.
Well, here's hoping all of our TA tools for Triumph comes to fruition. Let's take one last break, and then when we come back, we'll give you our final score prediction, and we'll get ready for kickoff.
Make sure
Let's
you
go.
go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right. Dad says 34-31. Tyler Townsend says 35-17.
Oh, man, I would love that. That's a
Reagan,
little repeat of last year.
what's your prediction?
I really think it's going to be like a field goal difference because of the time of day, and it's in Starkville. I really do. I'm going to say we win 31-28. 31-28. I would not be surprised, though, if we ran away with this and won by double digits. And that's what I want. But my gut tells me it's going to be a bit of a dogfight, and we're going to win 31-28 or something like that.
I think it's going to be high scoring. I think ultimately it's going to come down to in the second half in-game adjustments and halftime adjustments and the second half in-game adjustments. Those are going to be very, very massive for LSU. I do think LSU wins. I think they win 38-32. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think we eclipse.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we eclipse 60 points on the over/under, which at that point would be if it's
70.
38. Yeah, it'd be 70. So right at the 70 mark. I really, really hope LSU comes out strong. I wouldn't be opposed. Listen, I know everybody else says you win the coin toss, defer. And I am majorly with that group. But with the defense the way it is, I'm not upset if LSU gets the ball first. Like, get the ball first. If you get the ball first, like if we win the toss, we defer. I'm not upset. I'm not gonna be upset about it. Like, that's the right choice. But I'm saying, like, if State wins the toss and they defer and we get the ball first, I'm okay with it. Like, go down and score. Your defense has been bad. Okay, go down, score, get you a lead. Okay, so that's the only thing I'm saying with the coin toss and as far as getting the ball first, second half, whatever. Reagan, it's about to start. Let's get going.
Hey, Zach, I will say that one more thing that I did not mention. We should have mentioned, Zach. You got to contain Woody Marks. He's been the key to their offense.
So glad you mentioned that.
You got to contain Woody Marks. If you can contain Woody Marks, you're going to win this game. And
let me mention this. Hold on, Reagan, because I almost forgot. So our cousin-in-law, Leighton,
our cousin,
big State fan. He came on last year to preview the game with us. He said 2 words: Will Rogers. And then he said, Will is a throwing quarterback. Let the boy throw. If he throws for over 300 yards and State rushes for over 150, I've got State all day. But I'm thinking it's going to be LSU by 12.
Wow.
Been a State fan for a long time, but where there is life, there is hope. Hail State.
Love it. Appreciate you, Leighton. All right, Zach, it's time for kickoff. Go Tigers. Hopefully we can pull it off today. Early game in Starkville. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-star Hero, take us out. Peace.
Who that 5-star? Who that 5-star? In the